Well, good morning, everybody. Sorry about that technical difficulty, but we're underway now. Welcome to the first County Commission meeting of 2024, the January 2nd edition. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Commissioner Jones. Present. Commissioner Rivera. Here. Commissioner Gosar also here. If you'd stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, we have a public hearing, the Prairie Sun Zoning District Amendment, ZDA-04-23. We'll take, like to open up that public hearing and I take any comments for or against in the room physically. All right, how about online? Any comments about the Prairie Sun Zoning District Amendments ZDA-04-23? Last call in the room and online. Commissioners, I entertain a motion to close that public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 4, comments from the public. Are there any comments from the public? David, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I just wanted to let you guys know that the Wyoming Planning Association awarded the county, the city of Logan Simpson, the Planning Project of the Year award for last year. So just wanted to
Thank you, David. Thank you for your work, and Joe, your work, and everybody else in your administration. Any other comments? How about online? Any other comments? Oh, Tracy, please.
Sorry, I was slow to jump up. Good morning, Commissioners. I just want to let you know that Such Matthews and Clerk White and I will be doing 4 town hall meetings to discuss proposed legislature towards the end of the month, January 23rd, 24th, 30th, and 31st. And I will get more specific information, but is to help the public with some facts. For instance, that People's Initiative petition that's circulating through town right now, and other legislation that could affect people so they can make informed decisions or talk to their legislators.
Good idea.
Thank you guys for being willing to do that. I really do appreciate that. Any other comments in person? How about online? Last call in person and online. Commissioners, entertain a motion to close the public comment, please.
I move that we close the public comment period. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 5 disclosures. Commissioner Jones, any disclosures?
None today.
Commissioner Rivera?
I have none.
And I have none also. 6 considerations of changes on the agenda.
Well, of course you would stand up.
I'm taking things off of our already short agenda. I need to remove item 10.
Item 10. Okay.
I still don't have that back. I was out a couple days and have an email that I hadn't gotten back to them on yet. So thank you.
You bet. Any other changes? 7, approval of the consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. That motion carries. That moves us to the regular agenda. Item 8, update on 2018 specific purpose excise tax collection. Tracy, good morning.
Good morning again, Commissioners. I had been working on my worksheet that I maintained to track the specific purpose tax, and the last 2 months have been exceptionally well. Receipts over $1 million each for the specific purpose tax alone, and that puts us over 50% collected. I believe it's at 61.16%. So in your packet, you'll have all the numbers. I don't intend to read every single number on here to you, but I'll kind of explain my worksheet and give you time to answer or ask any questions. So based on the first page, it is all the different entities between us, the city of Laramie, town of Rock River, and the Laramie Regional Airport. Shows the total collections. I've also taken and averaged all the collections for each month. So The average month collections is about 657,000, which would give us about 3.22 years until we're fully collected on this tax. And in my past experience, it's never too soon to start thinking about those projects for another tax initiative. And then on the second page is just where we are with our county projects and collections. And there's been money spent, of course, from our projects. And this is my intent to give you this report monthly. So, but it will probably just appear on your consent agenda. I won't jump up here. But the big reason I wanted to be on the main agenda is because we are nearing over, or we are more than half collected on this specific purpose tax. Any questions I can?
Tracy, with that seems to be an anomaly, right? We're this far ahead this quickly. Is that?
Yes, I would attribute a lot of that, to the wind projects, because there's been, prior to this year, there was the one in Arlington that got the new updated, whatever they do to them, refurbished stuff.
Yeah.
Super knowledgeable, of course, on parts of the windmill, maybe the blades, I don't know. Big tall thing, whatever they call it. And then I believe this is probably also an influx with the football games, because the previous 2 months that we received would be 2 months behind for each one, which correlates to football season. And the lodging tax is also up a bit, for them as well. There's also Rock Creek has been going in that timeline. I think now they're kind of on the halt still from that.
Rock Creek?
Yeah.
Rock Creek, they are on a halt. There was issues with the BLM.
Yeah, but
And
some piece in there.
so Boswell is, but we already collected Boswell for the most part.
Yeah, well, we're getting the impact assistance money, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's gonna be sales
There'll
tax
be
money
sales
coming in.
tax, because they just did the roads and they're starting, they're gonna start the actual build on that.
And so this would not factor Christmas either, because usually you'll see a little bit of a spike with Christmas as well. I'm hoping that we keep going on these great collections, because it's really good for the general fund revenues, our optional 1% revenue as well. But they'll notice that the average calculation is still lower, much lower than what we've received in the last 2 months.
So Tracy, if we're gonna get these every month, just through the consent agenda, will they always be 1 to 2 months behind this course collection?
There'll be like a month, well, January, I would give you December. But the Department of Revenue's collections, by the time we get that check, it's 2 months behind. Because by the time their vendors report to them, they turn around and remit it to us. That timeline is about 2 months behind. So.
Thank you, Tracy, for this report. Really appreciate it.
You betcha. All right, thank you.
Item 9, present for consideration the Prairie Sun Zoning District Amendment Application ZDA-04-23. Joe, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. So the applicant is Jerry Johnson. This is located on the north side of Highway 130 across from the airport. The request is to change the zoning of 10 acres from agricultural to rural residential and change 10 acres from agricultural to commercial. Current zoning is obviously ag. We did receive some reviews. Assessor's Office, Chelsea Matthews had no concern. Assessor's Office, Karen Bowman had no concerns. Road and Bridge, Rob Fisher had no concerns. Treasurer, Tracy Fletcher had no concerns. Fire District, Luke Hawkins had no concerns. Laramie Rivers Conservation District, Holly Dyer, referred to a comment that Martin Curry submitted in January of 2022 and maintained that they had no concerns. YDOT had no concerns. Game and Fish had no comments. And City of Laramie discussed the Laramie area growth plan. The city would like to see more density than rural residential. Their full comments can be seen in the review section. The applicable sections of the Albany County zoning resolution is Chapter 3, Section 5. Findings necessary for approval pursuant to the Albany County zoning resolution. Chapter 3, Section 5G, the Board of County Commissioners must make the following findings. The applicant has provided such maps or surveys as required. The proposed zoning district amendment generally follows suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan, including but not limited to the long-range growth plan and the priority growth areas and other applicable land use plans. And the applicant has demonstrated that the proposed zoning district amendment complies with all the following criteria. And pursuant to Chapter 3, Section 5D of the Albany County zoning resolution, the applicant has provided the required notice by posted sign, publication, and certified mailing. The comp plan calls for this to be, so this is in PGA 1, priority growth area 1, which calls for basically where the city should extend their services and annex. And then the growth area plan calls for estate residential and multifamily residential and community commercial. The major street plan calls for a collector road on the east side of the proposed zoning district amendment. If a potential subdivision were to come forward, right of way at the very least would need to be reserved. Staff analysis, the applicant has addressed the potential impacts the zoning district amendment may cause and has provided a complete application. The planning department believes that the proposed zoning district amendment generally follows the suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan and Laramie Area Growth Plan. The planning department's concern is that the proposed commercial zoning is not a current intersection and would still not be with the proposed subdivision. The major street plan calls for a road to be placed on the east end of this parcel. Findings of fact, the findings necessary for approval and applicant responses referenced in this report are adopted as findings reflecting that the applicant has adequately addressed the specific impacts and the same are incorporated herein. Conclusions of law. The applicant is proceeding in accordance with and is in compliance with the requirements of the Albany County zoning resolution. The Planning and Zoning Commission, much of the discussion took place over the city's comments about density. The commission recommended the applicant come back asking for a zoning district that would allow for more density. Their motion was unanimously voted to recommend the Board of County Commissioners deny the Prairie Sun zoning district amendment application, TDA 0423, based upon the applicant's failure to conform with the residential density requirements as laid out by the Laramie Area Growth Plan.
Joe, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Joe? And then we'll go with, I think, Mr. Ralph's on to, if he wants to give us a few words. Any questions? Mr. Ralph, good morning. Would you like to put any more detail to that for us?
Good morning. Yes. I would just like to say that I believe the submittal as is follows the Laramie growth plan, especially with the area that the proposed or that the land is located in is indicated to be estate housing, which I read as rural residential. So I ultimately disagree with the recommendation that the city would want denser housing there. I think the city acknowledges that that's going to be the edge of their the edge of the eventual city limits, and is acknowledging that the housing that housing lots are going to be larger out there, probably still on well and septic because the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board to have smaller lots is really a non-starter. Our client would have to spend tens of millions of dollars to get water and sewer service out to the lots if they were smaller than 5 acres. So, I don't see that as a compromise. I see it more as a non-starter.
Thanks, Mr. Ralph. Any questions for Jared? So Jared, if this is Pete, if the city were to grow out there, would you be concerned that this might restrict growth by the way this would be zoned or be anticipated to be zoned?
No, I don't think so. I think we could connect them into city utilities later. as part of city annexation. I think there are existing properties out in the county now that would be brought into the city limits. So I don't think it's I don't think it's I don't think it would block anything now.
And with regard to roads, I know there's a road that's accessing it from the east, but it's not up 130 there. And there's no access planned off of 130, at least from what I could see. Any anticipated access off of 130 for this subdivision?
Yes, we actually have a YDOT access permit as part of the package now, applied for and received.
Would that be kind of directly across from where you turn into the airport? Is that?
No, we would have the separation from the existing airport turn-ins. So it'd be on the west side of the proposed lots, between the proposed lots and the road to the west. So we'd have the spacing and everything that YDOT requires for what's existing out there access-wise.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion for item 9, please.
I move that we approve item 9.
Would you add the staff analysis findings back, conclusions of law, and all that stuff, please?
I move that we approve item 9 as presented, staff findings.
There you go.
I was gonna say, I was pulling mine up.
I approve the Prairie Sun zoning district amendment applications ZDA 04-23, adopting and incorporating staff analysis, findings of facts, and conclusions of law as each are stated in the staff report.
Thank you, Ted. Second, I have some questions for the planning here. The zoning board thought that was against, that it didn't go along with our growth area plan. Could you explain that a little bit? You guys don't seem to think that that's the case. It seems.
So the problem is that the growth plan calls for 3 dwelling units per acre in the yellow zone, if you're familiar with the maps that I made.
Yeah.
And we don't have a zoning that fits that right now, which kind of puts us in a tough place. They could ask for small lot residential. However, that's still a minimum lot size of 2 acres. And so they're kind of in a tough spot here. I don't know. I understand what is going on with the plan and stuff. We just don't have zoning to fit it right now.
I would just point out too that until we do have zoning to fit it, we can't rely on a plan for purposes of denial. I know that planning and zoning, I believe in conjunction with the city, Matt and I were talking about it the other day, they're working on, or maybe the city and Matt are working on an MOU to work on enacting some of that growth area plan, but that we don't have that yet. And the growth area plan, while it has been approved, there are no regulations that have come from it yet. They're working on that, but it's a step kind of a process.
And Joe, how arduous would it be for the applicant to go back and apply for the small zoning?
I mean, they would have to turn in a new application. It had to be sent out to everyone again, and then go through all those processes. It's possible. I don't know that we'll have zoning if they were to do it, turn it in today or something within that time limit that it goes back to planning and zoning to you guys. I don't know if we'll have zoning by then. based off the growth plan yet either.
And then the city, that was their concern was that it didn't conform to the growth plan. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I mean, that was their comment basically. Pull it up real quick.
They want higher housing to the east, and then as you go more further west, then it would go to low density, single family.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, so what the city is wanting, based on the Laramie Growth Area Plan, is to basically these areas where there's supposed to be higher density, where it's showing higher density. In the future, that, I mean, once the agreement's made, I mean, they would like to look at basically having applicants come to them for an annexation request and then to rezone according to that and move forward. This, you know, the higher densities can be met with water and sewer according to this, but they can't be met with what we have. So that's where we're trying to apply something where there's not really an option right now for them to do that. I mean, even if they wanted to get water and sewer, it would be very expensive, I think, as Mr. Ralph said, so.
They wouldn't be able to annex.
Right. So their beef is they want higher density out here because that's kind of what the plan is showing. And I mean, the commercial part all kind of fits in, like our commercial kind of takes in everything, you know, it fits everything, but that piece that's in the ranchette or estate, which is three dwellings per lot. I mean, that can be met with urban residential, but again, that would also require water and sewer. So yeah, this one's just a weird one. It's kind of, we just adopted this plan, trying to figure out how to apply it. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
So this confusion is by no fault of the applicant. This confusion is caused by the county.
No, what I would say is that the applicant applied under the regulations that we have now. And we have this new growth area plan, which we have adopted. So it will be used to generate additional regulation as we go forward. At some point, there's going to be a question that comes for in front of this board as to what authority are we going to either cede to the city that they don't have now, or allow them to have joint authority, because that's what they're asking for in this, is if we have someone in the county who's within this general area, the city wants to require those applicants to agree to annex the property into the city, be subject to the city's regulations. So that's what the city's saying here, because they're in this area, and ultimately that's what the growth area plan wants in the future. We should follow that now. I think it's premature at this point.
They're entitled to the rules when they apply.
That is my concern. I think if this board makes a decision, and I have texted Matt, if this board makes a decision based on what's here. So what Matt says is this is a zoning district amendment, which is a legislative decision, and we did change our regulations to provide that, and there's no right to have your zoning changed. So the necessary findings require following the suggestions of the applicable land use plans. That's what Matt says. So currently what Matt says is because there's no entitlement to a zoning district amendment, and under what we've already changed in our regulations, it's not required to be granted. We changed the process. It used to be laid out in there in the zoning resolution, you were able to go through certain steps to have your zoning changed. Now, it is a zone, it's considered a legislative action. So there's no right to have it done. And because it's a legislative action, at that point, that is what entitles you to consider all of these other things.
And seeing how we committed to the LGAP by approving that with the city, we're somewhat bound to that plan.
You're bound to take it into consideration. You're not bound to follow it. I think, and David and Joe can correct me if I'm wrong, there are things in the growth area plan, like with all plans, right? In an ideal utopic world where everything works the way we want it to work, this is what we do. The plans, they take some of the considerations about locality and all of those things into their decision making, but it's really a best case scenario kind of a plan. When you are presented with this, what's in front of you now, you have to decide based on the facts of what you know, where things are now, the location to how close it is to the city, any of those things, whether you think allowing the legislative zoning district amendments is appropriate or not appropriate. So you have to consider the plan. It's not something you are required to rely on, but because you have approved it, it does carry weight. That was a very convoluted answer to not really give you. Do you have any other questions? Or can I clarify my roundabout for you? So I think you have to consider it. I don't think it is binding.
I would just add one more piece to this puzzle. So the property is not contiguous to the city, which even if we said, you know, you need to go to the city and try to do their process, the city wouldn't be able to annex them until it became contiguous. So this is one of those things where we've got a plan, and I think we're at the part where we decide how we're going to apply the plan when these things come up, which is a hard decision.
And I mean, now, and because it is that a legislative amendment, you do have the ability to consider that it isn't contiguous. You know, the distance that it would take an applicant. The problem in my head is if property isn't contiguous, the cost to connect to city services is always huge for developers, even if it's contiguous. When it is not contiguous, you're talking about requiring a developer to construct all of the infrastructure from the existing city boundaries or where it connects to their property, right? If they're not contiguous, is that right? And they would have to agree to the annexation.
Yes. I mean, I don't know what all the requirements are for annexation.
I don't either.
I just know it has to be contiguous to be allowed.
But they can extend services when it's not contiguous if the developer pays, is that right?
I think so. I think
that's one of their policies.
I think that's,
But yeah,
Because I've always heard that they won't do it.
and
The
that's probably
city
their
won't.
possible. Yeah,
the city won't.
that's their policy.
Yeah.
That's their policy, is to only annex and provide services at the point they're contiguous and they can't be annexed. That's what they have been doing. I don't know if anything's changed, but yeah, but like, I don't think the statutes say they cannot extend water.
Well, the statutes might,
I don't know,
but their
This-
rules
yeah,
or regulations.
yeah, their policy is different.
Nevertheless, this is a long-term vision of where they want.
it's a long-term vision. And with that, you have to consider, and I will tell you, I mean, I know where the airport is. I don't have any idea where the city boundary is in relation to this property. How long is it going to be before the city boundary expands to where this property is to the north? Because if it's, or to the west, if it's quite a ways out there and we're gonna say you can't develop, then anybody who has property that's not contiguous, you know, if we're trying to encourage development, how do you, and I don't know what it is, but there's a point where you say, you know, because right now, the circumstances in this property that we're looking at is that they're not in any way going to be able to annex in the foreseeable future, given the distance, then maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't if you're following the plan. I think that's a choice you guys have to make, but I would encourage you to think about, just to think through all of the circumstances, not just with this property, but with any that come in front of you. Because for a lot of it, it makes sense. I mean, if you're, you know, a block away, there's a block's worth of space between the property that you're talking about and the current city boundary, then maybe that's a different scenario than if you're a mile away.
Yeah, and I think in addition, this sets a precedent, right? Essentially, even though it does and it doesn't, right?
Right, it
But-
doesn't. It,
Yeah.
like everything, people will rely on it to influence how engineers, how they give advice to their clients, how they do all of those things. And I don't think it creates a hard and fast precedent, but it provides some guidance as to what this board is thinking when these type of applications come in front of it.
Yeah, and I think the growth area plan was just that, right? To figure out how to measure the growth, because there are cities in counties in Wyoming right now that are bounded because of the zoning that's taken place outside the city, and now they're in trouble deciding how to grow their city. And so I have to tell you, like, I don't feel like I have the necessary information to make this decision today, for me personally. I think I need to sit and talk with Matt, and I think I'd like to go over to the city and say, where I read your comments, but really, what do your comments have to be? What do they actually mean? Are you moving people this direction? And if you are, what are your concerns, right? Is it streets? Is it sewer? Is it water? Is it all of the above? So, and then I'd like to talk with you, David, about what it might take to do more with a higher density for Mr. Johnson, and what that might take. So
You have motion.
it's moved and seconded. Yep.
Vote on that and then table it.
Yep. Yep. Any other questions? You guys have more than I've taken up my time. Okay.
I was just asking David if this was something that has the timelines like some of our other decisions where, you know, you have to make a decision within 45 days of it being submitted or any of those things. So if it had timelines, I just wanted to know where it was.
Does it have a time?
At this point,
When
we
I-
don't think so. We're gonna check.
Yeah, so like, we recently updated our zoning resolution when it came to zoning district amendments, which is what this is. And I think we removed the timelines from that, but we would like to just double check on it as well. So
And I don't think statutorily there's one. I'm checking right now.
I don't think there's such.
Do you want me to wait before we vote? Do you check on that, or
Is your intention to table it?
Well, we have a
Well,
motion
you have
on
a
the
vote in
floor.
front of you right now.
Yeah. So,
Give us just 2
okay,
minutes.
that's fair enough.
There's nothing. There's no
It doesn't look like it's in our regulations anymore, so.
And I found it statute and I'm texting them.
And the statute's 18.5. I mean, where it says just leave it option.
I don't think there's
Don't
a,
I don't see it.
I don't think there's any timeline from a submission of an application like we have on subdivision applications, anything. There's nothing in here that I'm seeing in statute.
Any other questions, concerns, commissioners? I've moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Nay. That motion does not pass. I entertain a motion for item number 9 again, please.
I move that we table item 9 till we've had the opportunity to get the information that you want. All of us.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. If you do find a date and it's between now and our next meeting, let me know and I'll reach out to Sue and Terry, and if we need to schedule a special meeting, we'll do that. I don't want somebody to be harmed just because we weren't able to find it in 30 seconds, which we gave you to look for it. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Item 10 has been removed. Item 11, present for approval, agreement between the State of Wyoming Department of State Parks, Cultural Resources, Division of State Parks, Historic Sites and Trails, and Albany County Board of Commissioners in the amount of $1 million for the Pilot Hill Trail Project. Haley, good morning.
Good morning. So after months of waiting, we finally have the agreement. We're super excited. This agreement is between the county and Wyoming Outdoor Recreation. And then your next item is actually an agreement with the county and Pilot Hill, who's going to be completing the project. But it's $1 million. $1 million is in matching funds is coming from the Pilot Hill Inc. themselves. And we have about 2 years to finish up or a little over 2 years to finish up the project. So we're very excited.
Thank you, Bailey. Commissioners, any questions? Or Sarah, if you'd like to make any.
We're just grateful to the AG's office for approving the grant application and look forward to getting started on our permit.
Millions, bunch of money. Yay. Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for item 11.
I move that we approve item 11 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 12, present for approval agreement between the Albany County Board of Commissioners and Pilot Hill in the amount of $1 million for the Pilot Hill Trailhead Project.
So like I just said, that this is the agreement with Pilot Hill Inc. And they've already reviewed it and approved it on their end. Actually, just need approval on this.
Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 12.
I move that we approve item 12 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 13, present for discussion, grant application to Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Grant Program through American Rescue Act funding for evaluation of maintenance, free routes of the schoolyard trails in the Pilot Hill Recreation Area. Bailey.
So after going through, outdoor recreation, went through all the applications the first round, it looks like there's still money to disperse, so they're opening it up again. One of the things they've noticed is there's only so many counties, areas in the state that actually qualify for this funding for the restrictions that they put on it, and Albany County is lucky enough to be one of them. So Sarah and Pilot Hill Inc. have decided to submit another application. She's going to discuss it today. The application is due the 12th, so it will be before your next meeting. Then you'll see on your next meeting, we'll ratify it. But since she's outside agency, I'm having her discuss it with you prior.
Thank you, Bailey. Good morning, Sarah. Thank
Good
you.
morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this morning. Yes, we're really fortunate to be a county that qualifies for the Wyoming Outdoor Rec Grant funding, which is ARPA funding. It has quite a few restrictions on it. One of the extensions that they did do in this second round of grant applications was extended to maintenance. As you know, the history of the schoolyard section within the Pilot Hill area, it was initially a state parcel that was held in partnership with the county and with a local nonprofit BikeNet. In the process of establishing the Pilot Hill Recreation Area, Pilot Hill Inc. did absorb the responsibility and the lease for that parcel in the schoolyard section. And with it, the responsibility for maintenance and management of the trail system that was formerly developed by BikeNet by BikeNet. What we'd really like to do is make sure that those trails are of the high quality standard that the county expects them to be. They're several years old. They were built and designed in part by professional trail designers and builders, but also in part by the sweat equity of our community and a lot of after work teams of people out there building trails. Because of our wind and our torrential rains in the summertime, some of those trails have experienced some significant damage. Some are in really good shape still. But we are seeking a grant from the Wyoming Outdoor Rec Department to do a thorough analysis of all of the schoolyard trails, the viability and safety of them. And then also with that, looking at 2 summers worth of work, primarily with the Wyoming Conservation Corps, some probably with volunteers, to do upgrades and maintenance on those trails. We know that there are several of them that will likely need to be rerouted. They've just determined over time that because of the wind or other erosion factors, the trail's not quite in the right place. There were a couple of trails that were built with good intentions, but don't have good flow and have some safety issues that we're really concerned about. So this provides an opportunity for us to go in and make sure that those trails are of the standard that they should be, so that our community is safe and that they last for a long time, they're sustainable. I apologize for not being done with the grant application at this point, but in summary, we're asking for a total of $150,000 with a $50,000 match by Pilot Hill. We hope to use that money for a full assessment and evaluation of the schoolyard trails. And then also, as I mentioned, funding for recommended reroutes and trail maintenance identified in the assessment. This stays on the same timeline as the $1 million grant that you just approved. And so the completion of the reroute or of the evaluation would be done in 2025, and build seasons or maintenance seasons would be 25 and 26. Are there questions I can answer?
Yeah, so Sarah, you've already put this out for bid. Could you say that you're
We have.
anticipating January 5th deadline?
Yeah, we have 2 firms that we've worked with in the past that we feel are exceptional firms. And we've received bids from one of them. We're awaiting a bid on a second for the evaluation plan. And I'm also working with the Wyoming Conservation Corps. We have an extended MOU agreement with them for services over the next 5 years. So we're just looking at how we might schedule appropriately for those two construction seasons to make sure that we have the manual labor to do the work that's needed. The one estimate that I have in is from Single Track Trails Point Strategies is what they're called, and they specialize specifically in trail design and engineering.
Any other questions?
I guess I just question if when these were first done and you had consulted with people who do this kind of maintenance and building of these trails, was that not already covered then?
You know, BikeNet hired a company that came in and did the design of the trails. I wasn't engaged with BikeNet at that point in time. I believe it was probably 2015, 2014. I think the intent was great, and I think that there were, for the most part, they followed the plan that was designed. Some of them, they veered off a little bit because they felt that the trail might be more interesting if it went one way than another. And I think, quite honestly, all of the firms learn a lot. You know, you do the best you can to engineer a trail, but you can't really anticipate some of the weather factors, for instance, on Pilot Hill. And we're discovering that where we thought some trails would be easy to build, we're finding significant sand in the soil that's encouraging us to reroute so that they're sustainable. I think BikeNet did an outstanding job all in all over them. I just think the system has aged and is at a point where, for our peace of mind, maybe more than anything, and making sure that these systems are really designed with the intent of having a series of trails where young children can learn and advance in skills on them, that we take the time to really evaluate what we've inherited and make sure that it's safe and sustainable.
So this evaluation will be done on the trails that were originally made and not necessarily like
Not on any of the
ones
new
that we have
trails.
just completed recently.
That's correct. This would be on the schoolyard trails only, but it would also include a couple of connectors that people have been using for the past 5 years, from Willett Drive, from Worcester Drive, some of those 2-track roads that people generally use to get to the schoolyard section.
Thank you, sir.
And Sarah, would there be a possibility that some trails might be eliminated in the schoolyard? Do you have any thoughts
I
on that?
doubt that. We have
Okay.
3 trails that we've kind of identified that will likely need reroutes. I don't necessarily anticipate getting rid of any of them, because I think they're pretty beloved, and I think that would not necessarily serve us well. I think people would continue to use them. We would really like to get to the point where we can look at some of the old 2-track roads in that section specifically and see what might be decommissioned. But that's going to take a little more time. We're still working on the specific routes that we're going to encourage horseback riders to use, and a lot of those 2 tracks are used by walkers and horseback riders. So the decisions on any decommissioning of old roads, I think, is going to take more time than we can accomplish within this 2026 timeframe.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Any other questions? Not entertain a motion for item 13, please.
It was just a discussion.
Oh, just a discussion. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Item 14, present for approval amendment 2 to the contract between Wyoming Department of Health, Behavioral Health Division and Albany County Board of Commissioners in the amount of $269,100 through October 15, 2024 for state opioid response funding.
So Heather was unable to make it, so I'm presenting for her. This amendment is just to receive more funding from this program. This is the second time we've received more funding for this same grant award, so we're very excited. But yes, $69,000 more, so.
Commissioners, any questions? Entertain a motion for item 14.
I move that we approve item 14 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 15, present for approval funding agreement between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany and Laramie Plains Civic Center, Hospice of Laramie, and Epson Center for the fiscal 2023-2024 community partner 1% funding. Bailey.
This is just like you've seen the past few times. These are the agreements that came in this time. Looks like there's just 2 more outstanding. Hopefully I can get them on your next meeting. The vouchers are in your packets over there. But they're just your 1% funding.
Any questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion for 15, please.
I move that we approve item 15 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all of those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. Item 16. Thank you, Bailey. Present for approval, resolution 2024-001, resolution approving the official holidays for employees of Albany County for the year 2024 and setting business hours for certain Albany County offices. Kayla, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. What you have in front of you is last year's resolution, and then I have an option for this year. I've gotten a lot of comments back just this morning, so I'll kind of go over those first. Most of the holidays, of course, are not contentious at all. Some of the questions that I've gotten is the day before Christmas, the 23rd. A lot of people would like to see the 23rd taken off, and possibly the 26th for people traveling the day after Christmas. So that's something to take into effect. I got some comments about closing at noon. It's really confusing for the public. I know on Friday, I had people standing at the door holding it open for people to come in after noon. So I personally, if we're going to be open, we need to be open all day. It's just too difficult. And maybe we look at, New Year's Days, the 1st, maybe we're closed the 1st and 2nd. The city So I tried to follow a little bit about what the city does too. It's confusing for the public when one entity is open. I know that we don't have the same services, but it is confusing for people. So this year it was a little confusing. Ours were all opposite, like the city's closed today. They were open on Friday all day. We were closed half day Friday, closed on Monday, but open today. So I called the city. They evidently don't set their schedule till later in the year. They do their main holidays, but the outlying days, like after Christmas, before Christmas, they don't do that until about October. So that doesn't help us out any. So I tried. Anyway, so I guess my question would be for you guys, would you rather see the day before Christmas or the day after, or would you just rather have the 24th and 25th closed and not give the day after or the day before? And then the same with New Year's Eve. If we're going to be open, I think we just need to be open all day. This closing at noon is too hard for the public, and it's too hard on us too, to be honest with you. It's better off to just be open or closed. So I'm gonna leave that up to you, and then I guess I'll go over all my comments first. Of course, I added Tuesday, August 20th and November 5th for election day. We'll consider it an in-house work day. It's not a holiday, so we don't mess with like holiday hours for sheriffs or anything. And I think is how we will look at it is I will work with departments to see if their employees are able or if they want to work for the election. If not, I would just assume they would just work in the office that day doing their regular business, just like how they would. Columbus Day, I had thought about having it every other year that we don't have an election, but we do use Columbus Day as a training day. I know we use it for health insurance training and all of that. So if we could just keep that as an in-house work day every year, I think that would be really helpful. Of course, the election days would only be on election years, but I honestly, I want to say thank you so much if you guys do approve that. That's going to be a huge help for me this year. Especially going to e-poll books. It's really nice to know people's computer levels, their skill level when it comes to working on computers when we're going to do that this year. So I appreciate that. I think it will be really helpful for me, and it's helpful too. I know it's hard for Tracy. Our office is closed, hers is open, and people come and they can only do half their business. So it is helpful to just be close to the public that day and have it as an in-house work day. So that's thrown out there for you. So I guess some things to consider is Christmas and New Year's and what you guys want to do there. Oh, and Juneteenth too. I took Juneteenth off of the calendar. The state recognizes it as a holiday, but they do not take it off as a holiday that you don't work. And the city was not closed last year. We got a lot of questions about that too. They recognize it as the third Saturday in June, but they do not take it off as paid holiday. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, so, but that's really up to you guys what you would like to do. A lot of things out there.
Okay, I'd like to hear what comments that were made of giving up the 23rd in favor of the 26th then.
Well, so the reason why I went with the 23rd was because it was, so you'd come back and work Thursday, Friday, and you'd have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. I know the attorney's office, some other people, and I think it's hard too. People travel on Christmas Day. And so people are forced to travel on Christmas Day if you have the 26th, if you work the 26th. If not, they would just have to take it off. I mean, it is what it is. If you're going to take the day off, you take the day off. But I think that was it because a lot of people travel.
I would say for purposes of our office, we had to have attorneys traveling back on Christmas Day so that they could be at court on the morning of the 26th. And if for the way the dates work this year, if we shift it so we get the 24th, 25th, and 26th off, the county's still open 2 days.
Yep.
But it gives, if you're traveling out of town, people can take vacation on the 23rd if they need to. If you're not traveling, or if you're not traveling far, or even if you're in town, then you don't have to travel on Christmas to be back the day after Christmas. Or like me, if you don't travel, then you have the day after Christmas to clean up all the mess before you have to come back to work. But our office, it was because we had people had to travel on Christmas Day, because if the county is not closed, the courts are not closed.
Yeah, because the courts follow our schedule. So.
Any other departments commented on that besides the attorney's office?
I can't remember.
Yes, Tracy and Chelsea and Aaron and Rob.
People are in here. If they want to make
Any
comments.
thoughts about this? I mean, you're more than welcome to,
Please,
yeah, this is your schedule, and so
agreed.
it won't hurt my feelings. I don't know, I can't imagine it'll hurt you guys' feelings. I want to do whatever you would like us to do.
Your sheriff's office is indifferent for Christmas. We had some pointed comments for New Year's holiday.
Okay.
So, and the Juneteenth holiday as well.
Yeah,
My office, Christmas is not really an issue. I have a lot of staff members with small children, so they're probably just gonna be taking that whole week off anyway because of the school district. But it's generally quiet that week. Mine for the 31st, there was a number of people. I got phone calls, I got text messages, I got reached out through Facebook. Why aren't you guys working on the 29th? So the 31st for me is a big day. I know the rest of you guys, maybe not so much, but the 31st is when property taxes are due. And I feel it's my obligation to be there for the taxpayers.
The sheriff's office is in favor of paid holidays that are half day. It makes things extremely complicated for us. And so wherever the commission wants to decide is fine. I would say either we either work a whole day or we get a whole day off.
Yep.
I'd like to see us get away from the half days.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm good with that. I was originally in favor of a full day.
Taking the full day off or working the full day?
Working the full day.
Gotcha, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure that I understood.
Yes, that's fine. That's perfect.
Well, I mean,
That's like one of our busiest days off.
so Tracy, let me understand to make sure that you're all right with Christmas, with whatever we do, we'll do. For this next year, you would think that the first and the second would be advantageous to have those days off, and you'd like to be here the 31st full day. Does that have any problem with the attorneys that you know of? How about you, Chelsea? Is that a reasonable approach to this?
Sounds great.
And the sheriff's office doesn't,
We made the same suggestion for New Year's. And
Yeah.
to work the 31st, and if you're gonna create a 2-day holiday for New Year's, have it be on the 1st or the 2nd.
okay. And Kayla, your office is,
yeah, I'm good. We're good with that. Like I said, it's easier for us to be open all day than it is to be at noon. It used to be, I think historically, our office, the clerk's office used to stay late to close out our books. You know, we can go back and change something a year ago if we have to, so there's really no reason for us to stay. So working all day is fine for us.
yeah, okay. Rob?
We could actually probably adjust more to how much snow and stuff we have here.
Rob's like,
So
you
you
can set all the holidays you
snow
want,
during that
but
time,
Mother
that'd be
Nature's
great.
decided.
To be honest with you, a lot of our guys like this last time, we didn't have a lot of snow, so they just took their vacation time because there was, you know, they take 2 days off and, you know, they had the whole week, so. But with that caveat, we always make sure that if we need them for a snowstorm or something, so. I mean, as far as those days, it's probably more for the courthouse where you're dealing with the public.
So you'd be all right with the first
Yeah.
and second? And Adam, I saw you rolled in.
Yeah, I caught half the conversation. I was just walking through. What direction are you guys leaning there?
Well, it seems that people like to work the 31st and then take the first and the second off. No half days, just working full days, taking full days off.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion was no half day, either don't open or work the full day.
Yep.
There's a lot of, I mean, we could watch the people trying to figure out when we were open from our office. It was quite entertaining.
It's hard to watch them bounce off the doors.
Yeah,
Well, or when you have people hold the door and it's like, I let 2 people in because I felt bad. I was like, what do you do now, you know?
Okay, that
I mean,
handled.
we'll work at the convenience of the offices. Again, as I've said, you know, we're not publicly facing, and no matter if it's a vacation or not, I'm still working, so.
Yeah. And so the first and the second commissioners, are you all right with
Yep,
that?
I'm good with that.
Okay, and then the Christmas, do you have a sense, 24th, 25th, 26th, or 23rd, 24th, 25th? It seems like,
I think the 24th, 25th, 26th seems to fit.
I have just one comment. Would that mess with the public? I I feel like when you have consecutive days, granted, I don't work with the public, but I feel like when you have consecutive days, it's a little more easier to keep track of as a public person. Whereas if you're open one day, closed 3 days, open another, that could be a little confusing, but I don't work with the public and that's something you guys.
But in December of 25, it is all consecutive.
Yeah, December, so it's, I mean, it's really just December 24 that you're looking at.
It's a week,
Right,
Yeah,
and we only do it for a year.
Yeah, it's just 1 year. So I mean, it's totally up to you. We've been talking about the public and I'm just putting that out there.
So for my office being probably the one that's got the most foot traffic of any of them in the building. Christmas, because you have the school district and the university closes down, it's generally super quiet and it's not very busy at all. And it's probably, I mean, if you're looking at 24th, 25th, 26th, that means we work Monday and a Friday. We still have the 2 busier days that we
Usually have Monday and
people are
Friday.
going to be in. Mondays and Fridays are the
This proposed schedule would allow for, yes, you would have to be traveling if you're going to travel on Christmas Eve, but that still gives you that day to do it, and then it gives you the 26th to travel back.
Yep.
As opposed to having to
Correct.
travel on Christmas Day. So I think that's a little bit more accommodating, even our Albany County families.
Well, yeah, because that leaves Monday and Friday are, we'd be open.
Yeah, and like Tracy said, those are historically our busier days, Monday and Friday. Trying to get in and.
Right.
You'd have Monday and Friday that weekend and the Monday and Tuesday of the following week.
Yep.
To pay the taxes and do what they need to do. Okay.
So we're good there, and then, I don't know what you guys wanna do with Juneteenth, that's up to you. Like I said, I took it off the schedule because it is not a state holiday. The city does not close for it, we can recognize it, but, most places do not close as a paid holiday. And it's, we've historically usually followed what the state did, and I don't know why last year.
For a couple of years, I think we've had it, but I know it's caused issues. And we had it before the state even recognized it as a holiday, because I think the board at that time thought it was important that it be recognized, but now where the state is recognizing it on a Saturday, but still recognizing it, that may be
The
changed.
third Saturday,
Recognizing it on a Saturday.
Right.
Different. Aaron, the sheriff's office, that day, would that be that day or the Monday or the Friday? What would your thoughts on that be?
We added it because it was the suggestion that we had is because it's a federally recognized holiday, so that's are closed that day on there. So really doesn't matter what day it is. I think on the federal holiday schedule, it is June 19th, which is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday this year. Yep.
So they recognize the actual day as the holiday.
Yep. I'm supportive of recognizing the 19th as a county holiday. But
I think we have a lot of holidays, but it's not up to
Well, I
me.
think we have a lot of holidays, and I don't think it's necessary to close another time.
But I'm,
We
sure
certainly
will.
may have some emergency closures, so we don't, I think we've got more than enough days.
yeah.
Not to beat the horse, it's not Juneteenth related, sorry.
That's okay.
Not to beat the horse, I would be amiss if I didn't ask, or at least raise the question. Would there be, I mean, just looking at it, so you guys are saying work the Monday and the Friday is what we're currently looking at. Is there an interest in maybe just not doing any of our New Year's days and just having the entire week off? It would follow maybe more closely with what the university does, where they just close out the entire week or the 2 weeks, and then you come back the 30th that Monday and you just work a normal week after being off a week.
I would say probably not, only
Okay.
because the university doesn't really service the public. And so I think that being off the whole week would not be,
I don't think that's a good idea.
I see where you're coming from, because
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
we
yeah.
have a lot of entities, government entities or whatever, we all take different time off, and it is confusing, but I think with us being public facing, I think we need to be open, I don't think.
Do you need a full staff or?
Well, and yeah, I mean, like my
That's-
staff, we were half staff at some of the days. I mean, people take vacation time
But I mean, we have enough to service the public. If we don't have enough people, there might be lines, but we can still service the public how we need. So, you know, I think we had one day where we only had 5 staff, but we managed, and we're fine.
Sorry, I just,
No.
I thought I was
think
like,
it's-
might as well, you know, because we're in and then we're out and we're in. I was like, let's just shift it all up, take the entire week, and then when you come back on a Monday, everyone's family gets back into the routine. You're going to work on Monday and you're carrying through. So, but
You have my sympathies as a human being.
Yeah, because I think for even people in private practice that, or in the private community, that's a day everybody takes off. Because everything is closed, unless you're in regional. But, I mean, businesses in general are, it's a banking holiday, so businesses are closed on the first.
yeah, I figured most of us were doing kind of year-end catch-up or carry, you know, kind of carry-all, so that would give you the opportunity to do so. Yes. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I guess it's left to be decided on Juneteenth, and then I think that's pretty much the schedule.
Did you decide on Juneteenth? I'm sorry. Oh,
Nope.
I don't have a problem with recognizing another holiday.
it's up to you guys. It's not my decision. I tried to follow what the state did. And I know that the city, I don't believe recognizes it as well. So it's, they do not.
I think that you want to keep things consistent as possible with the city, and we already have a lot of days off. I am a no on Juneteenth.
I'm still where I'm at, recognizing the end of slavery, at least in Texas, was something to be celebrated, but
It's up to you guys. Like I said, I'm just trying to stay consistent. That's all I was trying to do.
yep, you bet. Yep, fair enough.
But that doesn't mean we can't make it.
No, it does not. Like I said, I was just trying to stay consistent because we hear it. We hear it on the public facing side. The city's open, but you guys aren't open, and vice versa. I mean, it's on both sides of it. And we're never gonna please everybody. So
If the city doesn't make their decisions till.
So they make their
We
decision,
don't know.
they make their decisions on the normal holidays. It's the outliers. It's the day before or after Christmas. It's those ones, from my understanding. But it seems all very strange to me that they would wait until October to make those decisions, but
That's staff to plan
it
vacation.
evidently is how they do it. I thought it was odd. I thought maybe they had a resolution on their meeting. Well, I guess they would probably meet tomorrow then because they're not open today. I thought they would have a resolution on their meeting. I thought, well, can I just get a copy of it so we could maybe mirror it, but they do not have one. So never mind, there went that idea. But it's all right. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Do we want Juneteenth or?
I do.
Okay, so Juneteenth on the 19th will be a Wednesday.
On the actual day,
Yep.
right?
Does this resolution need a motion?
Yes, it does.
So I move that our resolution approving the official holidays is such that we will have the Christmas break being the 24th, 25th, and 26th. We'll work the 23rd. New Year's Eve, December 31st, will be a whole work day. And January 1st and January 2nd will be holidays.
And then add Juneteenth in there.
Do I need to have the county buildings, the bottom here?
I think as it's listed on there, but I would add in, if you want to list it for the record.
In addition, we will acknowledge and have as a holiday, June 19th, 2024.
Okay.
Or Juneteenth.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you for Kayla taking the lead on this and trying to get this, you guys' input. Really do appreciate it. Item 17, present for approval, resolution 2024-002, resolution designating a commissioner from the Board of Commissioners for Albany County to serve as liaison to each board and commission for Albany County, Wyoming. that is the last page. And go to the last page on the other one that Kayla, she gave us the 2023 to 2024. Currently, Albany County Planner, David Gertz, that's me. Albany County Supervised Treatment Program Director, Heather Carter, that's Sue. Albany County WIC, Kristen Russell, that's Sue. Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Supervisor was Roy, but now is not Roy, that's Terry. Human Resources Director, Anissa McDonald is Sue. IT Director Adam is me. Public Health Nurse Manager Kim is me. Road and Bridge Superintendent Rob is Terry. And University Extension Educator 4-H Youth also under Terry. Would anybody like to make any changes?
I'm quite happy right where I'm at. I'm happy as well.
Okay, let's do that then.
And I think you skipped 17.
Did I?
18 is supervised. It's okay. You can approve 18 and then we can go back to 17 to the liaison to each board.
Okay.
I move that we accept for approval resolution 2024-003, resolution designating the commissioner of the board of commissioners for Albany County, Wyoming to supervise county department heads as has been in the past.
There's
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Kayla. And now we'll go back to 17% for approval. Resolution 2024-002, resolution designating a commissioner for the Board of Commissioners for Albany County to serve as a liaison to each board and commission for Albany County. All right. So I guess she's lied of me reading it. We could just say, would you like to make any changes to the board or commission that you are overseeing?
I'm happy where I'm at.
I'm okay.
Okay, there we are.
That was easy.
All right. I entertain a motion for item 1720, resolution 2024-002.
I move that we approve item 17 as presented and discussed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 19, approved vouchers for December 2023.
I move that we approve the vouchers for December 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Kayla, thank you for taking care of the resolutions, the commission liaisons and the supervising. I really do appreciate that. Now, do we vote on approving the vouchers?
Yep, you did.
Okay, 20, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Seeing no more business before the Albany County Board of Commissioners